Hello, we have Mario Beer today who is completing his bachelor thesis with the BCP team. So Mario, please introduce yourself and what team are you part of?
Yeah, sure. My name is Mario. I'm studying banking and finance at the University of Zurich. And in my minor, I study informatics. I'm in my 6th semester right now, and I'm doing my bachelor thesis within the framework of BCP. I've joined the project 4 months ago, and I'm in the strategy team.
Okay, and why did you decide to do your bachelor thesis with this team? And was this something that was particularly interesting to you, or I just want to know your thoughts behind that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like in the 5th semester, I was just looking through all the topics, basically browsing through all the study programs of the business faculty, and then I found out about the project. And yeah, I mean, it has been interesting because I'm very keen on blockchain. I mean, you talk a lot about it with friends, and you hear about it in news like on a daily basis. But what you really read about is just trading, you know, the big numbers, and more like this getting rich aspect, which is, of course, nice for students.
Sure.
But I mean, this only scratches the surface.
That kind of tells, everybody else that you want to dig deeper than the surface and and try to understand the intricacies of it, which is, I think that's a good sign. Do you feel that you have gained a lot of information and depth of information that you were looking for when you first joined the team?
Yeah, sure. I mean, at first I was more interested in like this financial aspect as well.
Okay.
But I mean, starting as a student of banking and finance, obviously I was interested in like DeFi and so on.
Yeah.
But I've never really had the chance to look into this in my prior studies because we haven't really touched upon it in any subject. So I was like really like excited with the project because it was like this golden opportunity to like actively learn more about it.
Yeah.
And so I think in this 4 months until now, I've learned quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for banking and blockchain to intermingle and merge too. I think it's already happening, right? On some scale, but I think you're in a really good path. So what in particular are you doing with the strategy team?
Generally speaking, we are just sort of tackling all the strategically relevant questions for blockchain presence. But I mean, we do a lot of tasks, but probably more specifically, we look into competitive advantages that we have in our business model. Then, this is especially important because we're in a very dynamic market field, right? So there's a lot going on, and the blockchain just changes constantly. So we need to be very active there. See, for example, we're based on Ethereum right now, so we have to see what scaling solutions, what scalability updates will be there, Ethereum 2.0 and so on. But then we also have to see like other platforms, especially the smart contract compatible ones, that might be interesting for us because they might challenge Ethereum in the long run. So we have to like analyze this and also try to foresee the changes. Then also related to the competitive advantages is competitor analysis. I mean, this is very closely interlinked. So we want to see what they do, how they tackle the Oracle problem, and then also compare to them in terms of cost, safety, and convenience. And I personally, every student has sort of their personal focus. And for me, this is the Oracle market, like how it develops, how it will grow, and then also the valuation, which will be important for the SEO.
Okay. What do you mean by an oracle? What is an oracle?
I mean, Oracle, we talk about the Oracle problem, that the blockchain is a very safe environment, but it lacks the ability to incorporate data from the outside, from the real world. And we as an Oracle provide a solution to that and safely escort the data onto the blockchain, which then means that companies can act in the safe environment with this data we provide, or senders provide through our Oracle. So we're like this intermediary between the real world and the safe blockchain world, which has applications if like parties don't trust each other.
Okay, makes sense. So how in particular do you think writing your thesis with BCP is different from a lot of the other thesis programs or thesis teams that your colleagues join or your teammates join? Not teammates, sorry, I apologize. Your friends who are also students. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think upfront there are so many differences. I think it differs fundamentally. So I think first and foremost, since BCP is a startup and a UZH spin-off, everything we do here and the students do here is way more like inherently practical. Yeah. And everything sort of has an impact on a startup in some way, right? And I mean, probably if you're writing a more like traditional thesis, for example, a research paper or an empirical work, you're addressing a topic more from a theoretical point of view. And with us, it's more like this hands-on participatory approach. So the strategy team has a lot of tasks. And I mean, they can also change because the market is evolving so fast. It's such a disruptive technology. Yeah. And you also have to collaborate with team members. Yeah. Because sometimes it just requires you to look at something together and collaborate. And also, I've recently worked with the marketing team on something. Sure. So I would say it's in general way more task related, and you have many smaller tasks. Whereas again, in a traditional bachelor's thesis, you maybe have one research question you want to address. Sure. Maybe also a thing about the personal aspect. As I said, you talk to a lot of people, so it feels a bit more like work. Yeah. You have meetings, general meetings, task forces, tackling most urgent questions. So in a sense, that is also different. If we want to look at it from topic-wise, I mean, blockchain, I think it's a very interesting topic, but also very difficult, especially at first sight.
Because there's not much information out there that you can research, exactly. So you actually need to talk to a lot of people who have some information on this and collaborate and then move forward. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. I think you have to get into it a bit, and once you settle down, it gets easier. And you can also talk a lot with other students, the co-founders as well, especially, and the professor. And I think there's just a more direct communication.
Yeah, that's good. It seems like you're ready for the task, for going on to the job market in a way. So that's really good. So how would you say the working culture is like in terms of, I think you touched upon some aspects of it, but overall, if you have to give some attributes to the working culture, for example, the soft skills, collaboration, this and that, how would you define that?
Well, I think since it is a startup and also a student's project, hierarchy-wise, it's very flat. You can talk to everybody, so especially the co-founders and the professor is very approachable, and there's an ongoing exchange, I would say. And I mean, personally, I would say I can also benefit a lot from that, because getting into it, as I've touched upon, is very difficult, but then I had a very steep learning curve, because I could profit very much from those conversations and just asking basically anything. Yeah. So that helped me quite a lot. And also the other thing is, at the beginning, I was probably a bit unsure if I was approaching it the right way. But then, since we have so many meetings, you can just present your findings, and then students and also the professor will give you feedback directly, which helps you to know, okay, I have to probably adjust a bit, or I'm on the right way.
Yeah. So from my experience, I understood that when I first joined the team, if I had a task around me, I had the full freedom of just going for it. This is the task I'm supposed to do. I have a task. I have some background knowledge on it, and I know other people don't have it around me. So I didn't really have to ask other people, can I do this or can I do that to complete my tasks, which I think it's a blessing. And do you feel the same thing? You don't really have to ask anybody to do certain tasks. If you have a good idea, you can implement that, or talk to other people and galvanize other people to complete those tasks. Would you say you have a similar experience, or is it a bit different?
No, I'm actually with you on that one, because I think you have a lot of self-responsibility from the start, which is a nice thing, I think. And also with blockchain, it's evolving, so there isn't really a standardized solution out there yet. So you have to also find out on your own a bit.
Yeah. So, everything is great from what I understand, and but are there aspects that you think could be improved to make your experience better with the team?
Well, I would say like with the lockdown and all the consequences of the pandemic, we couldn't really exchange as much in person. Like I personally would really enjoy that. I mean, we have a lot of meetings online, and we had to change the whole organization.
I think we were handcuffed.
Exactly.
Yeah, we were like we didn't have a choice to do anything. Yeah, so.
But now with things opening, maybe there is a possibility to like do some stuff in person, face to face.
Yeah, that's great. Any other comments or any other thoughts you wanted to share with?
Probably one other point for the last question. I mean, it's more difficult to socialize right now, so we came up with this kind of solution after the general meeting to have like this hangout session where we just meet up in breakout rooms and just talk a bit more informally about other stuff than just the project. I think that was really refreshing to get to know your colleagues a bit more, and also
it builds a culture too within the team. Yeah.
But apart from that, I mean, I think it's a great project, and I look forward to working 2 more months in it.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. That's all from my end.